All right, we are live.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Atheist Republic Sunday morning hangout, where we talk about what's interesting to us, hopefully what's interesting to you, what's new in Atheist Republic. And today we have Armin, myself, Nikisha, Erasmo's here, Ray's here. People drop in now and then, maybe. And today we're going to talk about what is new in Atheist Republic lately, what we've been up to, what we hope to do, activities or activism that we're involved with, and where we would like to see Atheist Republic go, what's exciting to us. So it'll probably be a lot of Armin and myself talking, and hopefully people can, any of our other guests who are here can pop in with questions or ideas. And we would love to hear from you after this, what's exciting to you, what you would like to see coming out of Atheist Republic, books you would like to read, stories you'd like to hear, important activism that we should be involved with, and how we make it all happen. So let's start off with maybe, actually, Armin, what do you think we should start talking about? We could address some of the publishing stuff that's coming out, or we could start with the story of some of the activism coming out of Muslim countries.
I think it's best to first address our philosophy about how we go about, and oh wow, this is the first time I'm seeing you on camera. Usually it's hey, that's great. Awesome.
Right. Thought I'd give it a go. What the heck?
Michael usually just gives us a picture, a static illustration.
Actually, it's a great picture too, but this is better. Right. This is a spaghetti monster in a strainer, I think.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. Anyways, I think before we go talk about, I'm getting echo. Before we talk about specific projects, we should tell people exactly what the philosophy of Atheist Republic is, and which addresses. Sorry. Michael, did you want to say something? All right, you're muted.
Yeah, I was figuring out where the mute button was. I'm on a different screen.
All right, okay. All right, so make sure everybody has their microphone muted, because I get echo if it's not muted. But the way we try to address things is that in Atheist Republic, instead of us coming up with projects and us as a team deciding what we need to do, we try to see what our community wants, and what we do is we just amplify their voices and provide platforms and the technology and the skills and the opportunity for people to just carry on the projects that they want. So, that's the whole reason behind why we call it a republic. It's called an Atheist Republic, is because it's not just like 4 or 10 people deciding what we need to do with Atheist Republic. Everything we do is just basically built by the community, and what the team is supposed to do is just empower the community and also provide services and the skills and the platform and the audience they need to be able to carry out whatever projects they want. Obviously, we're not in a situation right now where we could do everything, but we're trying our best. Right now, every team, everybody can basically apply to become an Atheist Republic team member, and once they are a team member, they could any project that they have in mind, they could try and get support for it, and once they do get support for it and get enough people behind it to make it happen, hopefully they will eventually make it happen. And the thing is that we try to have a very flat structure, so there's no leadership. Every project should be able to carry itself without a top, a few top leaders having to micromanage every single project. So And still, we see right now we're still in a situation where we still have to have a few people manage everything, but we're moving away from that so that every section of Atheist Republic and every project eventually becomes self-managed. And if anybody without, some people could start a project, or even projects that are not moving fast enough. Some people that are interested in it could basically join that group and try to help the people that are trying to make certain things happen. But that's a great thing about it. The reason why we grew so fast is because we weren't so picky about what we should do and what we shouldn't do. Anybody could start anything they want as long as they could, rally enough people within the team about it. And other than just the people that join the Atheist Republic as team members, we try to make it easy for people that don't even join the team to be able to start projects and um, uh, send their message to as many people as they want. So, for example, what we're doing with our upcoming podcast is that we are collecting. Again, I'm getting echo, guys. If just make sure your microphone is muted. Um, One thing we're doing is we're letting people just leave a voicemail on the website, and we'll just put it on our podcast. And we're making it easy for anybody to become a guest on our podcast by just providing them, very little barrier between them and our audience. So that means anybody from any country, from any background, could um, share whatever views they have about anything to all of the audience of Atheist Republic, which is great for so many people that feel that they live in environments where they can't, um, where they don't have an audience, or it's very difficult for them to share their voices. Another thing we're doing to make that easy, for a very long time, what we have been doing is we're focusing on online activities. Recently, we have started the Atheist Republic consulates, which is basically we're starting a group for every city. This is very new, and it takes a while for it to pick up, but already some cities we've seen are growing really fast, especially in India and some Arab countries. So what we're doing is we're trying to help people find atheists within their area. Um, so that's another thing we're doing, very, very excited about. And that goes again with the concept of trying to, instead of trying to control everything, we're just trying to break down barriers for people to do things themselves, right? So instead of like saying like, oh, here's an Atheist Republic event, no, we're going to try to make it easy for everybody to start their own event. Instead of saying like, oh, here's the Atheist Republic podcast, here's what we have to say to everybody. We go, no, the Atheist Republic podcast is going to be whatever our community has to share with everybody else. Instead of having like the Atheist Republic blog, which is like instead of having a few people contributing to our blog section, we're like, no, anybody that has anything to say about atheism or religion, even if it's opinions that we completely disagree with, could apply and become a blogger at Atheist Republic. So that's, staying true to the name, the Republic sense of Atheist Republic is one thing you see in all our projects. And there's many more other projects that we're working on other than the examples that I gave, but that's basically the philosophy behind what we do.
Yeah, so it's very survival of the fittest kind of, where if somebody has an idea and they want something to happen, a lot of times what will happen is, so we have for those who don't know, we have a private Facebook group where all of our team members, who basically anybody who's gone through the application process or in some other way been brought onto the team, they don't necessarily have to have a commitment level or an activity level. Some of our team members I haven't heard from in months and months, but it's just really a way for us to connect and toss ideas around and bring up problems and things like that. So somebody will bring an idea up to the team. If it falls flat and nobody shows interest and that person doesn't push it, then it doesn't happen. If an idea comes up, it could be the greatest idea in the world. It could be something that atheism worldwide desperately needs. But if there aren't people to make it happen, there's no big executive to push it through and make sure that it gets done. So there are definitely people who are behind the scenes much more involved, and so if it's something that they are on board with and they want to help see come about, then that person will generally pick it up and try to get people excited about it. But otherwise, we really rely on people to push their own ideas forward or find other people to push their ideas forward, which means we get some ideas that go through that everybody got excited about that have since fallen away or become less active or haven't worked out the way that that we thought they would or whatever, which means that certain things move a little bit more slowly when you don't have a paid team and a boss who can make sure that everybody gets stuff done. We really rely on everybody's own internal motivation to make things happen, and so sometimes they poke along quite slowly, and particularly because we have a lot of people, most of the people who help with Atheist Republic are very busy. They have families and day jobs, and Atheist Republic is just something that they do when they have the time. So sometimes that time is very limited. For example, the quote images that we put out, the memes that we publish, we just, for a while, sometimes we'll have a designer who has a lot of time and they will crank out 10 or 15 or 20 in a week, and then we won't get any made for weeks and weeks, sometimes longer, because there's nobody sitting in an office somewhere poking that person, telling them they need to get things done. So it just depends on if they have the time and if the person has the interest to do it. We also do not like trying to make people do stuff. And when I say we do have kind of a core group of very involved people. So the we is the people who are really involved, the people who have more time to give, the people who are able to commit more to following up with projects and things like that. So the we is all of us, and sometimes the we is the people who also have more time to sort of bug people about getting stuff done. So we're involved in a lot of things. We don't have time to sit there and poke everyone and make sure they're getting stuff done. So it all just depends on what people are excited about, which is actually a really great way of seeing something come about, because it's really a accurate representation of what the broader community is involved in, and interested in and excited about. Because when we have 100 and some 200 whatever people who are technically on the team, that's a pretty good representative sample of what maybe the broader community is excited about. So it's not just a lot of, some of the things that have happened, I'm like, or Armin's like, I don't know, I'm not sure. But then it takes off, or people get excited, or it doesn't, or whatever. But the point is that it's not just coming from one person and trickling down, and we're making everybody do it. And so the other side of that is when somebody does get excited, it usually happens because it's not because somebody's making them do it. So Foster's new project idea, Armin, can you expound on that?
Well, I let him do it. Do you want to talk about that?
Oh, I thought you were going to introduce.
No, I think he should do it.
Go, Foster.
Right, okay, I'll give it a bash. Basically, me and Derek had been having... it's a shame Derek's not here because he'd join in with it as well. We sort of bounced around the idea a little while ago that one of the complaints that we get from people in the closed discussion group is that people do sometimes wander in, and because a lot of people in the closed group are very kind of, we are here because we want to get away from any talk of religion and anybody talking to us about religion from the other side of the fence, because that's the purpose of the group. People sometimes stumble in who are sort of on the fence, they're edging into atheism, and they can sometimes get a bit of a rough ride because people are kind of like, why are you uncertain about not believing in God, etc. A lot of people have complained over the years that seems quite unfriendly, and it's fair criticism sometimes. I mean, we have to sort of have a very hard line on, look, it doesn't matter why you're coming in here believing in God, whether you're curious about atheism or not, this isn't the place for it. You'll have to go back outside. And the only place we can really send them is Atheist versus Theists, which isn't a friendly place in terms of discussing religion. It's very confrontational, and the main public page, which can be a bit chaotic, and again, people just get swamped. And what we'd sort of thought kept mooting about was, is there a way that we can have a group that people can come to who are sort of like going, well, I'm feeling very dubious about the idea of believing in God. I feel very unsure, or I've just this moment realised that I probably don't believe in any gods, but now what do I do with my life? What do I do? Where do I go from here? And really, it sort of galvanised me into thinking, right, let's do it. The last hangout, week before last, where we're talking about atheism and agnosticism, I thought, well, let's go for it. Let's bug Armin, and let's get him to set up a group under the Atheist Republic umbrella, where we can have people who are prepared to be a little bit more welcoming and a little bit more laid back and a little bit less debate focused, and more focused on so you're having misgivings, what misgivings, or why does the idea of there being no God scare you? I think the thing that was holding us back was probably, there's a lot of resistance amongst the atheist community of being seen as evangelical, as being, we will convert the theists to atheism as if we are an ideology, because we know what that feels like to be on the receiving end of. So the challenge for the group is going to be striking the balance between being people who genuinely want to help people who are struggling with this horrible realization of, I don't believe this anymore, but my whole life was built on this belief, and all my values, I feel, come from this belief, and suddenly I feel like this rudderless ship, which is quite often a feeling that people have. And being there for those people, and being somebody that can say, well, okay, we went through that too, or, well, I didn't exactly go through that, but I know what it feels like to live a life not believing in God, and it's not the end of the world, and you don't have to feel desolate and afraid, and have that kind of atmosphere rather than this, we will convert the stupid, dumb theist who believes in God because he's completely stupid. That kind of quite confrontational attitude that you sometimes get from quite new and very enthusiastic atheists who kind of, how to put it, want to prove how atheist they are by bashing people who believe in religion, if you see what I mean, which seems to be a stage that quite a lot of people go through. I think it wouldn't be the group for that sort of person. One of the things when Armin and I were discussing this, that we thought that Armin brought up and I'd already thought of, was really we wouldn't want that many atheists in the group, simply because we'd only want people in the group who were prepared to abide by some quite strict guidelines for the atheists, really, while at the same time being quite rigorous with, if somebody's joining the group just to come in and convert the atheists and tell us how stupid we are for not believing in God, then that would be something that we wouldn't want, because at the same time as well, I wouldn't want people who are coming and being quite tentative about the I hate this phrase, loss of faith, but I can't think of another way to put it right at this moment. Putting the frighteners on them, shall we say? So you will go to hell. That would have to be an absolute no-no. So it's feeling the way, really, and getting a little community of people together that can Lego this together. And probably, I don't know whether anybody's ever really done this before. Possibly they have, but to basically try it and see whether it works. iron out teething troubles along the way. So it's just basically a call out for people who are interested in taking part in that kind of thing. But my vision of it certainly is that it should not be an atmosphere of we will convert you. It should be you can come to us and we will not give you a hard time if you, let's say you're struggling with Pascal's wager, for example. We get a lot of people who've recently felt that they can't believe in God, or still have that misgiving of, but what if I'm wrong? The one where, I think we all know it, but is it worth, just give me a nod, Armin, if you think it's worth unpicking a Pascal's wager for people who don't know what I'm talking about. I'm just conscious that I'm going on quite a bit, yeah. So Pascal's wager is basically the idea that it is better to believe in a God just in case, because if you don't believe in God, I get this right, if you don't believe in God and you're wrong, you will burn forever in hell, whereas if you do believe in God but you happen to be wrong, you've lost nothing. And it's a tricky kind of false dichotomy that really trouble people who've been raised with this very literal fear of hell as a real place, that I'm sure people sitting here right now on the bottom of the screen probably understand better than I do. I never particularly experienced that very real fear of things, but I have at times been troubled by Pascal's wager. I think everybody has. And it's that kind of thing that we need to be there for people for, to go, well, yeah, okay, we have these thoughts as well sometimes, but this is how we deal with them. And have you thought of this? What if we're both wrong? What if it's the Muslim God? And unpicking why you're not worried about it being Allah, or why you're not worried about it being the Hindu gods, or and so on and so on. I realise again I'm making this very Christian centric, but that again is what we mostly deal with. But obviously, people who are coming from any sort of faith background would be welcome as well. I don't know. I think what I'll do is I'll shut up and let people ask questions. I think that's probably the best thing.
Yeah, Tanya has a question or a comment.
Okay, can you hear me? No, hold on.
Yep.
Can you? Okay. I joined, I think, in February, and I've noticed this many times around. It feels like there is some kind of fire baptism, when you join and you give your first time you give your opinion. There's a bunch of people that come in and go like, rah, and survival of the fittest. If you can survive that, you're good to go. And that's what I feel. I almost gave up because it was like a truck coming, and I said, okay, you know what? I'm gonna stay here. I don't care about these guys. I'm gonna stay here. I'm gonna say what I have to say. And then after a while, you kind of, get to know people, and it's not like you go into a party, a physical party that, you have a host and it goes, oh, this is Tanya, she's a newcomer, blah, blah, blah. Oh, hi, Tanya, how are you? And then you get some drinks. It's different. It go like, what are you doing here? Are you really, can you really be here? And then, blah. So that's how I felt. And I still feel like that. There's always some people that come, let me test you, if you can survive Atheist Republic, and then that's
yeah, it can sometimes be a little bit like that. I mean, I think the thing that seems to scare people the most is that if you say something, people expect you to back it up. I think one of the hardest things about discussing things with secular people is that they'll just go, "Why do you think that?" And if you haven't got a reason, do you know what I mean? And if your reason is, well, I just kind of feel it, it's like, but that just sounds like faith, and we don't like that. So it can be a little bit daunting at first, but it kind of, I think the people that stick around start to think, well, wait a second, I do actually need to think about why I believe things. I can't just lean back and go, well, because my mummy said, or because my daddy always told me that, or because it's the will of God. And I think gradually people start to realise that actually people just going, okay, you think that, but why? Isn't an attack on you. It's kind of a curiosity of, well, why do you think that? And yeah, but that reason that you just put forward for why you think that is kind of not very convincing, and I don't agree with you. And the opinion, the subjective opinion, isn't very sacred in Atheist Republic discussion groups. It's if you come in with an opinion, like there's two types of opinion. One, vanilla is my favourite ice cream. Nobody can really argue with you on that one. They'll just say, so what? Mine's chocolate. There we go. If you come in and say, I think that, I don't know, X is, I think that there are space aliens, somebody will go, why? And if you say, well, because there's life on Earth, you go, yeah, but so what? And that's then a discussion. And a lot of people, because the beliefs are more tied to their identity than they think, can feel very attacked by somebody just going, well, so what if what you believe is true? So what if you believe that? I don't.
It is a bit like something in a Shark Tank, though, which is.
Oh God, yeah.
Valid.
Oh yeah, it can be. I mean, it scared the crap out of me when I first joined the place. I was like, holy shit, what is going on here?
I think some of that's just sheer numbers.
I was just saying.
I am glad you hung around, though, Tanya.
Yeah, totally.
I think I saw Tanya raising a finger while you were talking.
Yeah, well, there is another point, because we have the guys that very intellectual, very well read, and can, you know, discuss a point and prove a point or whatever, or disprove a point. And that can be very scary for the people who are here. They just don't believe, they don't feel they believe, but they never read any books, and they don't have any conceptual, you know, knowledge of anything. They just don't believe, or they don't know if they believe or believe. And that can be very hard too, because at the points the discussion is on a normal level, quote unquote, and then comes some, not you, but other guys that come and
sometimes probably is me.
Discourse, this very elaborate discourse, and then it goes like, okay, yeah, but I'm not there, you know, I'm just thinking there is no God, that's it. I don't think, you know, philosophy terms and stuff, and that's normal because we have all different, you know, kinds of people, but I don't think necessarily that we have to have a profound knowledge of all philosophies and all discourses on being atheist or not for you to believe or not. Lots of people, you know, take the kids to work and cook lunch and bring the kids, and they don't believe in God. That's simple. They don't go anywhere. You know, I don't need to understand why the universe was created or not. I don't believe in that shit. And a lot of people do for the same reason. I know, you know, I'm sorry, but, you know, I understand that. But, and that's going back to the original thought that you were saying, that it makes it very unfriendly in a way, because sometimes it comes the parade that's going to, you know, challenge the person on a level that the person cannot answer.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's one of the reasons why we decided to have that, was because we were conscious of the fact that we can appear very unfriendly to somebody that's just going, but I just have this very vague feeling that there might not be a God, but I don't know, and I'm a bit, and we can have that discussion at a less supercharged level, and a bit more patience and a bit more listening, and you know what I mean? And I suppose a bit more like a sort of 1 or 2 or 3 person conversation, rather than talking and 30 people all wanting to jump in and say the same thing or derail the conversation in a way that's not helpful, or just basically prating about. And kind of more like we try to do in the Masterminds group, where it's a bit a lot slower conversation where somebody might not reply for 2 days to a discussion thread, but then somebody suddenly has something really interesting to say. And I don't know, I think, but at the same time, Masterminds isn't a place for religious people to come and have any sort of conversation about the crossover point. So yeah, I think it is a consciousness that a group of 60,000 people, probably 300-400 people active at any one time, and 20 people actually having something to say, isn't the place where you can have a slow, steady, plodding discussion with somebody who is feeling very unsure of things, and as you described, Tony, I think you hit the nail on the head.
Armin has something he wants to say.
Can I
Yeah.
just?
Well, before you say something, I just want to clarify to the audience what we're talking about, because it might be a little bit confusing. We have different environments where discussions take place. We have a private group which is for only atheists. It's our main private group on Facebook, which is one of the most active private atheist groups ever. It has around 60,000 members. There's every second there's comments that are going on. We have the mastermind groups where the rules are more strict. You can't just post, talk about everything there. That's over there is a little bit more quiet. That's also a Facebook group. We have the Atheist Republic public page, which is open to both atheists and theists. Over there, it could get a little bit chaotic, and it's very unfriendly, especially to if it's open to theists, but when they come there, they don't find they find the atheists usually gang up on them. So that's why we're trying to maybe open a new community where there's more theists and very handful, very small number of atheists that will address the questions of the theists in a more, friendly way, maybe. I don't know what the right term for that is. And the last place where we have, which is I'm very excited about, is our Atheist Republic forum. Over there's a lot of very interesting discussions happening there, especially for people that don't want to be open about their atheism on Facebook or don't even like Facebook. So on the website, they could basically not use their name at all and use any picture they want, and be completely, keep their identity hidden. There's a lot of people joining there, and there's a lot of very interesting discussions happening on the website forum. So that's just atheistrepublic.com, and then you click on the forum. Also, that community is also open to theists as well. Anyways, that was just my introduction to different places where these discussions are happening. So I'll step back.
I just wanted to say that the opposite of academic discussion is not necessarily stupid discussion. There is something in between, that it can, it doesn't have to be extremely high, and if it's not extremely high, it has to be like there is always something in between where you can get there, and I don't think necessarily, because we atheists tend to be more logical, so knowledge will bring us to to be convinced of something, and the believers, they tend to be not logical. So just by knowing something, it doesn't necessarily bring them to say, oh, okay, I'm convinced there is no God. I think just by knowing, by reading, not necessarily if you're a believer, because I think it goes away from you believe or don't believe, I don't know, but that's it.
I think it's a great idea, and really people who are questioning religion have a lot of places to go within religion. If you're having a crisis of faith, there's lots of Christian communities that you can go to support you and try to keep you in Christianity. So if somebody wants to have is really in a genuine place of questioning and is really leaning more toward feeling like they don't believe, I think it behooves us to have a welcoming community for them to go to and ask their questions without getting jumped on or being called names, which tends to be what happens in some of these bigger groups. Just by virtue of, as I said, which is so many people. When you have 60,000, a million, over a million people, and every second there's comments bouncing all over the place, you're going to get, there's just a critical mass there, and you're going to get, you know, pounced on. So that's, I think it's great. It's a great idea, and I think it actually will really be a great place and take off. The trick is always, and I think this was mentioned, that we just want to make sure we get the right people in the group, the right atheists in the group, to provide that solid base of a supportive community. So I want to move on from this. I think it might be a good topic to have another time on its own, or maybe we can pick out some of these projects and actually hash them out if they're on the Hangout, just for people to watch kind of the process of how we work out ideas, and that might be interesting to do, and it might get some good feedback as well. So maybe we can do that sometime. But right now I'd like to move on to talk about some of the other things we have going on, because we do have a lot of them. So if, Armin, why don't you, since you tend to have a good grip on the overall picture of what's going on, if you could just let us know maybe some of a good list of what's happening and what we've been doing, and then maybe if there's one thing in particular that we want to highlight.
Okay, I'll just mention some of the recent highlights, and you guys could decide which ones you want to talk about. Most people know our communities, like the Facebook page, the private group, but when they come to our website, they get surprised about how much, other than communities, how much more we offer. One thing that we recently talked about in other hangout with Ellie is the support group. And that has been very successful. It's just for atheists that are feeling lonely, feeling isolated, feeling demonized, and they need for somebody to talk to. We have this application where they come and they tell us what their problem is, or if they need, if they are in, if they're suicidal, we try to make sure that it's an emergency situation, we need to contact somebody about it. But other than that, we tell them that we're not professionals, but we're there if they need to just talk to somebody, especially in countries like from countries where people don't have access to good, or people that can't afford, professional help. We make it very clear that we're not professionals, but if they want to talk to a friend and just share their problem with somebody, we have people that are. Well, let me just mute Tanya for a sec. Okay. We have people that are willing to listen to them, and that's a very good volunteer opportunity. If anyone wants to join the team and has experience with this, that's a good position for people to join the Atheist Republic team. Another thing we just started with one case is that there's this. We're trying to see if we could find ways to provide asylum to atheists that are in danger. We don't know the process. We're learning the process. We're doing it with one person. We have right now we're really actively following her case. This is especially true for atheists in Muslim countries. This is not easy, as we the more and more we're getting involved in it, the more we're realizing how difficult it is. But we get so many requests, so many people contact us, so many people tell us that they just want to leave their countries. They don't feel safe, and obviously most of them will never be able to leave. But if we could pick, a few of them that think that they have a case, that they are going to be successful, and try to just help them with the application, with the visa process, somehow help them to get out. If we could, do that's something else that we want to be able to provide help with, and we want to get more people to join the Atheist Republic that have experience with that would like to volunteer their time to help some people get out of these countries, especially with recognition of who's actually, because we get a lot of scam as well, so we need to be able to recognize what, if we're being scammed or not. Another great resource my show provides resources for atheist parents, and some guide resources. That's a very popular place on our website. And one thing I already mentioned is creating communities for atheists to find other atheists in their own city. Especially so many times when people find out how many atheists are in their city, they get very surprised. Especially in smaller city, they think like there must be one of the handful of other atheists, and as soon as you create a community, they see like there are so many others there. They get very happy. They feel very less lonely, less isolated, which is really good. Um, Atheist Books, we have a publishing arm now. We're letting people that want to publish their books to, instead of going, through publishing companies where they lose all their rights and most of the royalties, we try to provide an easy way for people to just get their books published. We do cover design, we do editing, we do book formatting. We don't take that much. We only take enough royalties to cover the cost of these things, so the authors get to keep the royalties, and we also let the authors keep the rights to their work, unlike the publishing companies. So that basically goes along our philosophy of letting more people to express their views in more ways, and one of those ways that people express their views is through books, and we're trying to make it easier for more atheists, for people that want to be authors or are already authors to publish their first or new books. Another last, the Atheist Republic podcast is coming soon. We just want to make sure we have enough. We're getting enough voicemails. We just want to make sure we have enough for 7 or 10 episodes before we start the podcast. But that's just basically opinions from all over the world. That again goes a long line with giving people more opportunities to express their views. And the translation team, we're trying to, that's going a bit slower than I was hoping for, but it's going there. We're trying to provide content, already existing content in other languages for many atheists that don't speak English, especially in languages that there is not that much content out there for. I think like the atheist community is getting really good at providing more content in Arabic, for example, but not much in Indonesian, which is a very important language, for example. And there's many other like the Persian community by itself has done a very good job at translating a lot of English, secular content into Persian. But there's so many other languages that has been ignored, which we should identify. And if you want to join the Atheist Republic team as a translator and also a manager that could find a way to make these things faster, because a lot of times people rely on a few people to just keep these projects going. But if anybody wants to join just to see like where's our bottleneck, why is this project not going forward, and try to just bring people together and manage things, that's something that we really need. So people that have experience with project management or think they're good at it, that's something we really need. And also the last one that I want to mention is the Atheist legal resources, which is we're getting lawyers as volunteers on our team for people that need legal advice with different, free legal advice, especially when it comes to religious issues or church issues or violation of church and state issues. And we're hoping to be able to provide that for many countries, especially for people that can't avoid legal advice. So that's just a few things that we're working on and planning to work on. I'm going to let the team know.
I want to just also reiterate something Armin said, which is really important from my perspective. I've been working with Atheist Republic from relatively early on, and a lot of what I do, I've done a lot of different things, but a lot of what I do is essentially team management, project management. That is a huge area because really we have a massive number of people working on a lot of different things, and we're getting to the point where we're beyond the point actually, where Armin, myself, some of the other people who came on early on and are really involved in Atheist Republic, we can't keep a handle on it anymore. It's really gotten to the point where sometimes somebody will ask me something or ask Armin something, and we're both like, I don't know, I have no idea what that is or where it's at in the process. So people still come to us, but Armin especially has been very good at just constantly pushing it back on people and being like, I don't need to make this decision. Bring it to the team. If you have a question or you don't want to be the person to make the call, let them make the call, but I don't need to be the one. And but because of that, there's been a lot of independent things that have been going and growing and getting really good, but it's not necessarily always really synchronized and communicated to the other team members, and sometimes it really just needs somebody to say, I can do a spreadsheet and I can make sure that people are on task. And it's gotten way beyond my ability to manage the bulk of it, and Armin as well, and Ali is another person who's very, very involved, really puts a tremendous number of hours into Atheist Republic, and she's got life, you know, and we're all, life is going to happen to us all, and things are going to change, and who knows who's going to be having babies and marriages and whatever, and so we need those people who aren't necessarily like have this great big idea that they want to do, but maybe they can help just keep people on task, even with one, you know, this one little thing over here. If you can just sort of manage it and get people talking to each other and stuff, that's a great role for you to play. And I don't think we actually have that as an application on our website, and maybe that's something we need to address, because that is actually a really important thing for us. So out there, if you are excited about that, or if that's something you would like to be involved with, even little things like just encouraging people who seem to have dropped off the radar. We do have a role for that, but it hasn't picked up in quite the way that I think maybe we imagined. So maybe that's something that. So go ahead.
It's called the community organizer. So that's a position. Yeah.
Yeah, so we envision having community organizers who essentially just keep the pulse of the team and see maybe who hasn't been as involved, or who is excited about something, but maybe they just need the encouragement to kind of keep going, because we realize not everyone is a self-starter who can keep stuff going. So we want to make sure that everyone is having the opportunity to do the things that excite them. So that I wanted to just speak to that from my perspective. Also, atheist parenting is something that is really important to me. I think actually Atheist Republic has now been around long enough where some of our young adults are starting to get married, or adopt kids, have kids, whatever, and parenting is a whole other area that I think needs kind of some separate resources. That has been a little bit just kind of sitting there. But as things come along, I think people will get more interested in that. So if you're excited about writing about parenting, or writing about atheist kids, atheist teens, we'd love to see that as well. I know that I saw a hand from Tanya earlier, and I saw another hand from Armin. So Tanya, why don't you go ahead, because I think I saw your hand when Armin was talking, and then we'll go back to Armin. Go ahead.
About the resources, because sometimes I find very confusing to find where to go. The other day we had a girl that her mother was making her marry this guy. He didn't get A's in school. I don't know if you knew about it. And she wanted to leave. She got a visa. So I couldn't find a way to go. I knew the resources. I know we have lots of resources, but I was trying to find specifically that one that is maybe the legal advice, and I could not find the link. I could not find where to go. I could not tell who was in there, and somebody called you, Makisha, I think later on to talk about the case. Couldn't we have like a box on the top of the page, the main page, with just all the links, legal this and whatever, so we could refer the person and say, look, or I could, or some of us could, contact whoever is in charge of that particular resource and say, look, there is this person here, I think we can help, or whatever. I got totally lost. I couldn't find any resource. I talked to someone, and then somebody told me to talk to Ellie Harris, and then I was all over the place, and I was not able to do anything.
So there's a couple parts to that. One is there is a resources link on our website, which is a good place to start. Sometimes it can kind of take you down the rabbit hole, but that is, if you go to atheistrepublic.com, there's a link right at the top that says resources. It's kind of right in the center of the navigation bar.
Not on the private page, on the Facebook though, right?
Yes, right. So I think that is another issue, that we have the Facebook community, which is really where Atheist Republic got started. It's where all of the conversation happens. That's like the public page or the groups or whatever. And then sometimes I think there's a disconnect between that and everything that goes on the website, which is the website has to be the place where all of these things live, because we can't house this information on Facebook. So the website is always where all of this stuff has to be. So I think maybe because we're at about 10 minutes to the top of the hour, I think I don't want to get too deep into this as far as like problem solving this particular issue, but I did mention earlier in our little sidebar chat that I think having some links and having some central places for people to go on the Facebook page might be a good idea. But the resources is definitely where people want to go to on the website if they need that. As far as like, you know, going from Facebook, we're going to have to provide those links in some way. So thank you for bringing that to our attention. That's something that we can maybe talk about with our web people and stuff like that, and how that might look. Armin.
Yeah, the website is the center of it. You know, a lot of people, because they find us through Facebook, especially the Facebook private group, which is so active, they see the private group as the center of Atheist Republic, but the website is supposed to be the center of Atheist Republic. We don't have control. You know, Facebook has its own ways of putting information, everything in the places they want. It's not really designed for us to change the environment in a way for us to, you know, show where our resources are, how to contact us. It just gives us a very small description box, which is you can only see half of it most of the time. So, and the Facebook page is a little bit better because you have applications and stuff. But the place where we have the most flexibility and we could do whatever we want is our website, and that's usually where people could find all our projects, all our information, all the volunteer positions, which is basically when you go to the website atheistrepublic.com, on the top menu you can see the volunteer section. You know, all our blogs, all our news, it's all there. So if anybody has, you know, and if they want something that is not there, that's, you know, if they need to contact Atheist Republic, the best place is not the Facebook page. The best place is the website. That regarding the website, another thing I wanted to mention regarding your community organizer is that if you join as a community organizer, I'm hoping that it's not mainly to focus on people that are not active, because people, you know, as Makisha said, you know, we are busy, but mostly focusing on what projects are not moving forward and why they're not moving forward. And one thing we're trying to do to address this is we're creating an Atheist Republic handbook, which shows how everything is done in Atheist Republic, how we do blogs, how we do news, how we do memes, how we create projects, how we do every single project. It goes in full detail about how we're running it. So a community organizer can use this handbook and figuring out, as soon as they join, how to figure out how the process of everything works and get involved right away to figure out where the bottlenecks are. Another last thing I want to mention is the Atheist Republic news. You know, a lot of, you know, one thing, we have, you know, a few reporters, and then when they go on break, all of a sudden the news section of our website stops because we don't have any news articles coming in. So if you're interested about reporting news that from around your country, or you think news that is not being covered in other news outlets as much, and you think you have a good perspective about it, you know, you're very informed about it, and you want to keep people up to date about different issues. For example, if you're an atheist in Bangladesh and you want to keep us updated about what's going on with the bloggers there, from, you know, that would be a great, you know, becoming a journalist at Atheist Republic, that would be a great opportunity. Or if you're an atheist from Iran and you want to give us information about things that is not getting that much attention under the news section, that's a great area. And again, having more people in each one of these sections is good. Like, I'm in LA right now. I just went for for a few days of travel, and a lot of things are falling behind because there's some things that only me is doing. Our journalist went on a trip for a few days, and our news section all of a sudden stopped. So that's why we need more people in different areas, so that when people get busy with life or they go on vacation, that project just doesn't go on a full, doesn't stop until that person is back or we get a new team member. Yeah.
Yeah, we have a handful of people in Atheist Republic where if they take 2 days off, like, I mean, Armin and myself and Ali and a handful of other people, if we just don't do anything with Atheist Republic for a couple of days, like, it starts to disintegrate. And that's just because you always have to have people who are daily involved in the daily goings-on of Atheist Republic. And it's not because we're special or we have certain skills, and we're not. It really is not about us. It's just that we're on it every day. We're on top of what's going on, and that's required. And so if Armin gets hundreds and hundreds of emails every day, and that's crazy. Like, if he doesn't check his email box every 5 minutes, it's like, before you know it, it's untenable. So that's just the reality of running Atheist Republic. We're not bitching about it. It's just that's the reality of how it is. And so because of that, that's why we need a lot of people, and we need also more people who can be involved in the daily goings-on of Atheist Republic. If we were to have 500 more people who could sort of check on things once a week, that would be awesome, but we still would have that lacking component of sort of a handful of people who can have the daily pulse of Atheist Republic. It's a beast, and it's something that really needs to kind of constant management. It's exciting, and everything that's going on is great, but every new project, some of us who are sort of in it every day, we kind of go, oy, do we have the people? Do you have the people? Do you have a team? And so there is a little bit of a reality check with some of these things that has to happen. So Armin and I have done a lot of talking today. I want to provide an opportunity for anybody here to talk about the things that they're excited about for the last few minutes. I do want to bring up that the only way that any of this can happen is because we have a website, and we have an amazing webmaster, and I don't use the term master lightly, and then we have some other team members that work on the website, and we have some other people who are coming up and getting more involved. The website is super important. If you are involved if you know Drupal, if you are a coder, if this is something that's exciting for you, we need you. And I think sometimes that the behind-the-scenes stuff tends to get forgotten. So if that's something that's exciting to you, please let us know, because apparently there's some really new and exciting changes, and that will require some hours being put in, and that's all volunteer, as pretty much everybody in Atheist Republic is. So if that's exciting, please do let us know. Atheist Republic is a nonprofit, so when we talk about everything that we're doing, pretty much everything is volunteer time that people are putting in, and that's a reality that we are very sensitive to. And because we are a nonprofit, that means we don't have a lot of profit, which means that we need everybody's financial support as well. If that's something that you don't have the time or the energy or the interest in volunteering, toss a few dollars our way, particularly once a month on a regular commitment basis. That's very helpful. We have opportunities to give on our website, and if you like what's going on with Atheist Republic, if it's valuable to you, we feel that is something that we can be comfortable asking for some financial support, if it's something that is really a part of your life that is bringing you joy or making you excited or making you think or whatever. That is important. We have to pay for the website. We have to pay for some of the people who keep things going all day, every day, and that money has to come from somewhere, and that somewhere is you. So if you would like to join with us in that project, please check out our website. And now I'm going to open it up to our lovely people who are here. If you have any questions or comments about what's going on in Atheist Republic, point a finger. I'm going to let Esther talk because she popped in and then had some things to say about the website, and then Tanya, you can go after her.
Yeah, can you hear me? Yes, okay. So what I want to say about the website is it's my job, also analysis, as well as architectural information architecture as on a technical level. So please keep me in the loop from the start if you are planning on making structural changes, because I think I have a lot to contribute to that.
That's great. Thank you so much, and we're super glad to have you on our team, Esther. Tanya, go ahead.
Okay. Do we have to be, in order to be an editor or to help, you have to be an atheist, or not necessarily?
I've always assumed that
a volunteer who is not an atheist and who doesn't care about anything, but
no, not for the team member. We don't have that requirement. For the private group, because it was supposed to be a place for people to discuss with atheists, the private group where everybody is involved and they discuss, that's only for atheists. But the team group where people make Atheist Republic and contribute content and write blog and news, basically the volunteer group, we don't know why a Muslim would be interested in volunteering their time for an atheist website, but if they want to, we won't stop them. Yeah.
The opposite of atheist is not necessarily theist, Maybe a person.
No, that was my example. I didn't say when I use Muslim as an example. I didn't mean that if you're an atheist, if you're not an atheist, you're necessarily you're religious or anything. But that was just like anybody that is not an atheist, if they want to join Atheist Republic, maybe for example, here's a situation where I could think of somebody that is a Christian, for example, right? They may think like, I'm a Christian, but I think atheists are being discriminated against, and I believe in the civil rights movements for atheists, so I want to help these people out because I think they deserve their rights. So that maybe somebody could think like that, and we won't. If anybody has anything to contribute and they want to help out, we don't tell them that they can't join because they're not atheists. They can join.
And if there is a book that has been published before, and I did a recommendation yesterday. Is there any place where we can? It's we only. Can we have a link for the book or just a private recommendation? I don't know how to ask the question.
Like if you want to recommend a book to the broader community, or?
I did that yesterday, I posted something, but is there any other way that I can recommend that I think is a good read for us?
Masterminds? Yeah. Yes. So if you want it provided as a resource on the website, something that you think would be good for our community to know about, you can email me. I can route that to the right people. I mean, generally that stuff, it's best to put it on the private page, and then tag me or email me, and then somebody will get it. I'm always kind of a good person to route things.
And actually, this reminds me, I forgot to mention this. If you search, there's a new open group which we made called the Atheist Republic Book Club, and it picked up really fast. We just only started it, and within very short amount of time, it got to 3,000 members, and people are discussing books. There all the time. It's a very active. Yeah, we have a book club on our website, but we have also a book club on Facebook. The book club on our website is what Atheist Republic itself recommends, but the Facebook one is where everybody is sharing what they're reading or even just any books, not just atheist books. Anything they're enjoying and reading for our community. That's where they discuss it, which is a very, very fun group to be in, by the way.
And the last question, why in the hell Sunday at 9 o'clock in the morning.
We did a poll. I know this is quite ironic because a lot of people will be like, if I wanted to wake up early in the morning on Sunday, I would stay Christian. So,
Hang on, it's 6 p.m. here.
So making, come to the mass at 9 o'clock on Sunday.
No, okay. This, like everything else, which we try to be a republic. We post when we wanted to pick a time. We post a poll. We ask people's opinion, and this was the #1 spot that everybody selected. This got the most votes, so that's why we picked 9 a.m. Sunday morning.
It's because we have so many people from around the world who participate.
Yeah,
So
it's 6. Yeah.
Yeah, it's 6 where Michael is or whatever. So it ended up being that time. We are a republic. If you put up enough of a stink and you get enough people behind you, we will change the time.
Basically, this is the time that people in the West are most of them have already woken up, and as far back as in the East, people have still not gone to sleep yet. We're ignoring the people on the other side of the globe, but that other side of the globe is mostly water, so we could,
I have
that is right. Yeah, in Indonesia, it's already 12 a.m. It's Monday right now. Yeah. So why protest?
Don't complain.
So because what happened is usually I have my atheist group meetings here in Escondido on Sundays at 10 o'clock in the morning. So I have to leave at 9:30. So it's very difficult for me to to participate. I like to talk. You guys know that. So.
Well, we definitely would like to see as many people participating as possible. Unfortunately, with such a massive group, I don't like 9 a.m. on Sundays either. I don't think Armin is particularly keen either way. So, but it is just we had to pick a time, and we couldn't keep going back and forth forever, and that's the time that ended up. But we can do another poll and see if that's changed. We certainly want as many people as possible to be involved. I want to give a chance for Erasmo to mention something about the translations. We're going over quite a bit, so I want to try to wrap it up. But Erasmo, go ahead quickly, please.
Yes, I'll try to be very quickly. And is everybody able to hear me? Yes? Well, right, as of lately, Ali has mentioned to me that
I think maybe we lost you because you froze or something. I thought for a second it was me.
Yeah, I think we lost them, but we should do an entire episode about the translation. So
yeah, I want to do. Yeah, or I also want to do. We need to do an episode about an episode. We need to do a hangout about the publishing arm because there's a lot going on with that, and I wanted to mention some things about that today, and we didn't get around to it. So if the translation is related to the publishing, it'll come in then. If it's related to the books. The translation stuff is huge and probably something worth discussing at a separate time. So, Erasmo, I'm sorry that you froze, but I would have loved to hear what you had to say. Armin, go ahead.
No, that's it. I just if you're a translator, please join us. And if you want to manage the translation team, that's very helpful too, because we have so many people that want to translate, but managing it has been proven to be very, very difficult.
Yeah, it's lots of languages and lots of people, and we need editors to edit translations as well. Tanya.
Yes, actually, but because we have, I'll explain later. I'll explain in another hangout why, but that would be great as well.
Okay, so maybe next week we'll do translations, and then the week after that maybe we can get our publishing team on board. Tanya, did you have one more thing? Sorry. No. Okay. All right, great. Thank you, everybody. Great hangout. This just goes to show how much Atheist Republic is doing. Again, please support us if you can, either volunteering or making a donation. Everybody have a great week. See you next week.